Hello there, Jeff here with the Bigshooterist channel. Thanks for tuning in. I know from previous videos that we've done, comments that you've left and discussions that we've had, that you like 50 caliber rifles almost as much as I do. But this video I'm doing today to show you that there's something that we may be overlooking. You may already have something that throws a 50 caliber projectile, maybe a 60, maybe a 70 caliber projectile. It's called a 12 gauge shotgun. Stick around. Now it may be obvious to you just by looking at the 12 gauge I'm holding, this ain't a video that's typical for shotgun videos. This ain't about your grandfather's old scattergun. We're going to get a little bit technical and we're going to have a whole lot of fun. So bear with me and don't let the word shotgun sound too innocuous and lose your interest. When somebody uses the term shotgun, it often conjures up thoughts of maybe a single shot, maybe an old Mossberg or Remington pump shotgun that your granddad or that your dad or your great-granddad might have had at a hunting camp. These aren't the shotguns that we're discussing today. Actually they are, but we're going to take them to a whole different level. You know, if you've been watching the Bigshooterist channel any amount of time, that my big thing is modularity. That's why I love the M16, the M4, the AR-15 weapon system, because of the modularity, because of what you can do with it. Today we're going to discuss modularity and some outside-the-box uses that may not have come to light with your 12 gauge shotgun. Now when you think of that old shotgun, this may be the barrel or the barrel length that comes to mind. It's a regular 28-inch barrel. It's got screw-in chokes, so you can use it with multiple types of shot, and a vent rib. This is what I would consider a standard shotgun barrel. Good barrel for duck hunting, goose hunting, anything that you've got to really reach out and keep that shot group tight. That really isn't the type of barrel that we're going to go over in this video today. Some of the options that you have, and this is one of my favorites, even though it's not one of the most exotics. This is a 24-inch barrel, and it has a cantilever scope mount on it. So whatever you have for an optic stays mounted right to the barrel. This way, when you take it out of the receiver and want to use a different barrel with it, your sight always stays in line with the barrel. You don't have to worry about resighting it because it's integral to the barrel itself. Now this is a rifled barrel, and a rifled barrel will let you do things with slugs that was not even close to possible with a standard smoothbore. Because it's a fully rifled barrel, and because we have the ability to use optics, when you combine that with a decent projectile, typically a sabot slug, you've got the ability to shoot 2 and 3 inch groups somewhat easily. Now when you've got a 2 to 3 inch group with a projectile that's over 50 caliber, 50, maybe closer to 60, we'll examine a few in a little bit, in a firearm that's as lightweight and portable as this, that's got some serious potential. For my NFA brothers and sisters that are watching this, same shotgun as the previous 2 barrels were manufactured for. We've got a 16-inch barrel here. Now, we could go an awful lot shorter, and if you've watched our videos, you've seen them down as short as 8 inches or 6 inches even. We don't have to stop at 16 inches. I only did because I didn't want to cut the magazine down and lower the mag capacity of this particular firearm. So going with modularity, we've got one gun, we have a 16-inch barrel, we have a slug barrel, and then we have a regular barrel to shoot birdshot or buckshot, something longer distance. That's some pretty serious modularity with one base unit firearm. So before we move on, sticking with the modularity aspect, one firearm with no tools, we can go from this to this to this. And again, that's with no tools, and probably within 1 minute changing all 3 barrels. 3 very useful tools, 3 very specific different purposes. To answer a few questions, yes, a standard Title I shotgun needs to have a barrel that's at least 18 inches in length. This one has a barrel that's 16 inches in length. It's a short-barreled shotgun. We have videos about short-barrel shotguns. I'll post a link to one right over here. As far as performance with short barrels, A lot of people seem to be under the misconception that a short barrel destroys the performance entirely. Well, several years ago, we did a test where we took a 30-inch barrel, cut it all the way down to 6.875 inches, and we measured the muzzle velocity every single inch with slugs. Every 6 inches, we measured the pattern with buckshot, and the findings were amazing. I'll put a link to that article below this video, so if you're really into the nuts and bolts of these things, you'll have that info available to you. Instead of talking about performance with these large projectiles, let's show you. I brought my Red Bearded Blades Amateur. I keep it with me all the time as part of my EDC. Made it easy to section around. We've got a real common one. It's a Remington Slugger, and it's a 1 ounce projectile. This 1 ounce projectile measures about 7.40. So here is a 70 plus caliber projectile, rifled, this particular one. It's leaving at, they claim, 1,560 feet per second, and I found Remington to be pretty accurate on that. That's going to give us over 2,300 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. So 50 cal, yeah, that's cool. 74 caliber, that's pretty cool too. Let's take a look at a sabot slug, something that's intended to be fired in the rifled barrel rather than a smooth bore like this rifled slug. Unlike the rounds that were designed for a smooth bore, the rifled slugs, I'd be doing us an injustice if I didn't mention Ballistic Research Industries. These people, in my opinion anyway, really revolutionized the shotgun slug. Now, where are they different from a rifled slug? I'll show you, and it'll be real obvious. Each slug is encased in a plastic sabot, or a plastic sleeve. The plastic sleeve engages the rifling in the rifled barrels, and that's where it gets its accuracy. Now, not too far from the muzzle, they shed this, and their projectile has a much better ballistic coefficient than a regular rifled slug. It performs much more like a standard bullet than it does a slug, and if you read the old writings, you'll see that they actually refer to it that way. They are 50 caliber, .500. They are 440 grain, and the old BRI used to claim the muzzle velocity was somewhere in the area of 1,500 feet per second. The accuracy is what really separated them and really stepped up the game in sabot rounds and in shotgun hunting and the technology associated with it. I'll give you a close-up of a standard rifled slug and the BRI slug. Here's a shot of the two slugs in their casings. Obviously you can see where they've been sectioned. The BRI slug is on the left. The Remington Slugger rifled slug is on the right. Let's take a look inside. Here they are outside the casings. The BRI on the left, the Remington Slugger on the right. I left one half of the sabot intact on the BRI to illustrate how it rides in that. The rifled slug doesn't have any type of casing. And here's a shot of just the projectiles. The BRI sabot on the left, the Remington rifled slugger on the right. So that's enough talking. Let's take a look at how they perform. What is a slug actually capable of? Now, the BRI sabot slug is much harder material. Obviously it will penetrate further. The Slugger rifled slug is lead. It's a softer material, and that's going to expel its energy quicker by not penetrating so much. So let's put the two of them side by side, and let's see if we can tell any difference just by eye. For this first test, let's shoot some water jugs. Since we have data on water jugs from previous videos, we know what to expect. Let's see if we can expect the unexpected. We're going to use the 16-inch barrel. I've got a red ring sight on here, and we're going to shoot from 10 yards. And we'll start out with the Slugger, the Remington rifled slug. Let's see how it does downrange on the water jugs. Now for some reason I don't have any barrels left that are full height. They seem to all be crushed. Maybe if you watch the channel you know why. So I've got to get in an awkward position to get in line with the jugs. Let's see how we do. Check it out. So we penetrated 3 jugs with the Remington Slugger. The energy transferred all the way back to the 7th jug and actually split it, although none of the ones in between were damaged. Let's see what we do with the BRI. Take a peek. So the BRI went through all 6 jugs and through the witness panel. So I've got nothing to recover there. The penetration is much better. The expulsion of energy is slower because it's traveling through, it's not stopping really quick. So we kind of knew that going into it. We'd have better penetration, it's a smaller projectile, and it's going faster with the BRI Sabo slug. But there are times where that's advantageous, but especially when you factor into it the accuracy that you're able to get with these things. It gives you more of a short distance rifle than what you would typically think of in a shotgun. Let's do another test that maybe will illustrate this dump of energy even better with both of the slugs. Let's see how it affects the top canister, the one that we don't aim at, and see if that gives us a better idea of what's happening energy-wise. For this one, I'm going to pan way up. The first shot will be the Remington rifled slug. The canister should be in the lower right-hand side of your frame. I'm going to shoot the bottom one, which is filled with water. We'll see how it affects the top one, which is empty. Yep, energy. Let's try it with the BRI. Let's try the same thing with the BRI Sabo slug. A little bit less height. So the energy transfer was a little more clear on that one, similar to what it was with the milk jugs. With the slugger, the rifled slug, kind of a big mess. You can see where it came in over here and then it just absolutely annihilated the can. On the Sabo slug, it's a nice round hole coming in, and on its way out there's a mess. But it's obvious there was a lot more penetration. That went through the witness panel. The first slug did not go through the witness panel, so we dumped our energy there. You can see by the height of the top can, there was a lot more energy expelled than with the Sabo slug, which utilized energy driving straight through. Well, I hope you enjoyed our short day at the range today. I hope that we were able to bring a few things to light with the difference between the Sabos and the rifled slugs, if nothing else. Demonstrations, nothing scientific, mostly fun, things to give you an idea what they'll do. We certainly didn't even touch upon the capabilities of these things. The biggest difference I found with the Sabos, penetration is a big difference, and accuracy is hands down, especially with a rifle barrel. That's where these things really shine. So you can, if you're restricted to shotguns, say you're in a shotgun only area where you hunt, by using Sabo slugs and a rifled barrel, you can get darn close to rifle performance out of that shotgun. So you don't need to be held back just because it's a shotgun area. Those of you that like big bore projectiles and things with massive muzzle energy, there's a lot of cool stuff out there with 12 gauges. We haven't even touched upon the availability of specialty ammo, and we'll do a special video on that at some point in the future. At another point in the future, very, very soon, I'm also going to introduce you to my Tromix S17 12 gauge. This is by far my favorite 12 gauge, and I know that I'm not alone out there. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please share it with your friends, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's free. And until next time, have fun and be safe.